ACOG iRacing 358 Late Model Tour brings you here live at Lanier National Speedway, the dirt version, as we get set to crown our first victor of this series. First time, actually the second time technically we're here at Lanier for a separate points betting event as well to crown ourselves a points leader off of this event. 13 drivers lined up here for tonight, hopefully to see more come into the later weeks, but regardless, should be a lot of fun to see on how it'll all go for this Lanier showdown. We'll go ahead and pull up the standings here on the top of the board. Currently a minute still remains in practice as of right now. Drivers getting situated out on the racetrack to get themselves going around this 3/8 mile of an oval, and there are some fairly notable names that a lot of drivers have to keep an eye on out for tonight. One of those names being Scott Scheuer in that number 57. That number 57 currently sits on top of the board. You see Kevin White Jr. currently sits second as well. Harry Grindle, our triple challenge winner, currently sits in that third spot. So Harry, another one to watch out for. Omar Diallo also present in this field, as well as Josh Patterson. So a few names that we didn't see last time from that triple challenge now here present here for tonight. So we hope to see those names come forward themselves into the next upcoming weeks, and hopefully some new faces will start to show up as well. So with that being said, we'll go ahead and scoot ourselves into qualifying. Glad to continue to see you live on MaxspeedTV ACOG iRacing series. We go and transition ourselves into the national anthem. If you're not just tuning us here live for the ACOG iRacing series, here live at Lanier National Speedway, whatever people call it nowadays. They've changed their name to all sorts of things. Of course, it was before they, I guess, abandoned the racetrack temporarily back in before I think around 2012 is when the last time they raced at this version of the racetrack. But they soon reopened it, and I know they did race some CRA late models here, I think a year or two ago. I'm not sure if they still race here now, but regardless, this facility still active, and it's just a walk, just a few ways down from where Road Atlanta is. Fun fact there, if you all didn't know that, you could literally just walk at least a mile or two up the road going north, and up the pathway wherever it leads to, and you'll find out that Road Atlanta is right up there. So some cool interesting tidbits around this racetrack. Still qualifying underway as of right now. Kevin White Jr., Scott Scheuer round out the top two. You see Bachman, Shuttlesworth, Patterson, Diallo, and Camosa all with a lap at least logged in. Now watching Mitch Hobbs in this number 89 whip it around the racetrack. Lots of these drivers are fairly new to dirt, so it's going to be interesting to see on how it'll all go for all these drivers on how they're going to tackle this dirt racing surface. And for Mitch Hobbs, of course, known asphalt racer, we saw him lead a few laps at Auto Club before. Actually, he ended up finishing either outside in 6th or like 5th or somewhere around that. But Hobbs do it here again, and here he is just running laps around the racetrack. We'll go ahead and pull up a bit of track information here on the right-hand side, or excuse me, left-hand side of the screen. Pit road speed, and not really going to matter since I hope nobody's going to hit pit road. 0.33 miles iRacing measures this track out. Only one configuration unless you want to run it backwards. Elevation around 900 above sea level, and time of day in the late afternoon stages. Race statistics here on the bottom right is the one I'm looking forward. 3.75 mile racetrack, so 3/8 of a mile. Turns 4, 1 in each corner, and the banking ranges around 5 to 11 degrees. So the higher up you go, the more banking you'll have to climb. And that also means that high side is definitely going to be relevant by the end of this one. So it should be interesting to see on how it'll all go. Straightaways are 300 feet both ways, and the lap count will actually vary per session. If it's heats, I think it's going to be 8, and if it's the main race, of course, it's going to be 50. So everybody seems as though solidly in for right now. And no points to be displayed because, of course, this is our first ever race we're running here for this 358 late model tour. So, if you're not just tuning us in here for tonight, we're transitioning ourselves into the first heat event, ACOG iRacing 358 late model tour, coming here live from Lanier. We'll go ahead and stack it up for our first heat event of the night. That'd be Kevin White Jr. and David Bachman rounding out the first row. Josh Patterson, Daniel Camosa rounding out row number 2. Harry Grindle and Peter Kenny row number 3. And it's going to be Cole Woody all the way in last. So 6 drivers going to line up this one. And again, the top 5 push themselves forth a secured feature spot. And if we did have over 25 drivers in this event, that means that does mean some of those drivers are going to have to go through that last chance qualifier. So seems as though all 7 drivers have gridded themselves up here for this one. So all eyes on that final spot around that 5th position, and that's where Harry Grindle sits. Speaking of Harry, we just talked about him, how he was the triple challenge winner here last time by, beating out Colton Zimmer in the number 09. So should be fun to see on how Harry will tackle this one with some new faces up here. But he is unfortunately going to have to work himself through a bit of traffic. There's the traffic right ahead of him. That 52, Kevin White Jr. Nice lap logged in by him. He's going to be starting himself up top. So should be fun to see on who the top 5 will move themselves forward. 8 laps to log this one into the books. Pace car will scoot itself down on pit road. 8 laps to go in, and Kevin White Jr. will lead the clean track to the races. We're up and away here at Lanier for heat race number 1. Of course, with a clean surface, everybody tucks themselves immediately to the bottom line. Bit of contact right behind. That's Cole Woody trying to cut out. Looks like I think it was Camosa. They all trying to file themselves down to the bottom side of the racetrack as we work into turns 1 and 2. It's all that 52, Kevin White Jr. for right now. Bachman cannot get a bite off the corner. He's going to lose a spot to Cole Woody, who's going to get tapped. Then around goes Cole. Peter Kenny also collected. So Cole falls. Oh boy, he can't get himself going. Kevin White has to watch out where he is, so Cole's going to tow it out of harm's way. He's going to have to work himself into the heat, unfortunately, but that was a big scare for all these leaders, and now Kenny holds the final spot for right now as Bachman and Woody are probably going to be shoved into that last chance qualifier, unfortunately, so that's unfortunate for them. Luckily, they'll have a second chance to race a bit more. But Cole, unfortunately, out of it. Or he's going to set this one aside for right now. All eyes on this 52 of Kevin White Jr. is Harry Grindle, who's worked himself from 5th now into 2nd. And it's Patterson right behind, that orange machine trying to get the best of what he could get, but unfortunately he's slowly falling back. Kevin White Jr. is going to pick up heat race number 1. It's Grindle and Patterson rounded out, and Bachman is going to be the first one who's going to be starting probably first for that other LCQ. Go heat race number 2. This one's going to consist of 6 or 5 cars. Scott Scheuer, the number 57, Trey Shuttlesworth right alongside of him. Omar Diallo in the 160. And it's Mitch Hobbs in the number 89. Joe Berge in this number 83, and Aaron Brown this number 18 will round out that final row. So 6 cars in this heat. Let's line them up. Just waiting for a few drivers to grid up. Scott Scheuer. This is the driver I'm sort of watching out for here. This number 57. Scott pull up his stats. A 4,000 iRating on the dirt side, so he's definitely going to be a favorite coming in for tonight. Shuttlesworth right alongside of him. I know he's notable on the dirt side as well. That number 119. Should be fun to watch. Omar Diallo. This is honestly the first time I've seen him on dirt. So Omar gonna have a stab at it here in heat race number 2. So I know Omar has a lot of talent under that hood. Should be interesting to see on how it will all go for him. So only 4 cars in this heat. Again, 8 laps to be logged in for this event.
Green flag,
green flag up and away. Scott Scheuer will hold the field back. And the 160 all over him. That's Diallo as he works himself into 1. Scheuer gets a bad entry into 1. Here comes Shuttlesworth. Luckily for him, it all works out as he got a nice run off the corner. Scheuer already pulling himself ahead of Shuttlesworth, who's rolling the bottom side of the racetrack. You see that 119 is just sawing the wheel, trying to get as much grip onto those front tires as much as he can. He blinks out a bit momentarily as Mitch Hobbs is having a shot at the 160 of Omar Diallo. Everybody lined up nose to tail. Seemed a bit more organized, but Omar is all over this 119. Shuttlesworth really sideways to the center of the corner, so this track is still gripped up. I'm not expecting that high line to play in effect, but Shuttlesworth doing a nice job of just fending out that bottom and boxing in that 160 of Omar. The right rear nailed the outside wall, but Shuttlesworth is going to open up the door for Omar for 2nd. Shuttlesworth falls back 1, looking over for a crossover, and he gets the nose under. 2 laps to go, but Shuttlesworth jams on the brakes. I think he might have gotten a bit tight coming into that corner, so Omar secures that 2nd spot as Scheuer sees the white flag. And it's Hobbs looking for more around that 119. He'll have to sail it down 1 last shot. Well, for Scheuer, Heat race number 2 is going to go to him. I think Bachman's going to log in 10 laps by himself. So we're going to have a bit of a snooze by the moment. Because he's the only driver who's not who didn't secure himself a top 5 spot. So all eyes on Bachman on how, you know, he wants to fling it around the racetrack. Better log these 10 laps fast because everybody's sort of waiting around for him. If you're just joining us here for tonight, ACOG iRacing 358 late model tour, currently in the LCQ portion of this, but of course only one driver in this quoted LCQ. That's Bachman, and at number 84 is going to get a lot of screen time for these next 10 laps. And as Bachman logs these laps in, we'll go ahead and run through how this will all go. Works himself into one, so. And if you're new to the iRacing service, this is actually technically a fictional racetrack. We'll get an outer view of this racetrack. This track was scanned back in 2012. They renovated this place, I think, back in 2017 or 2018, in which they paved the infield. So they paved the infield, and the track literally is known as a black lake now because of its fresh pavement that it has out in this area. They did put up like temporary inside walls for that super late model race I was just talking about. It was not these type of super lates, it was asphalt super lates. But yeah, this track still runs today. It runs other types of leagues as well, not only just oval leagues, but as well as drifting leagues as well. You can look back on a couple of YouTube videos and search this track up, and you'll find, I think, Formula Drift videos of this around the internet. So something cool to tune yourself into while we see Bachman turn in his final 2 laps, who's just having a time of his life with an empty racetrack. Sees the white flag now, so one more lap to go for David Bachman. Across the start-finish line right about now, so there you go. That's it for Bachman as he nails the outside barrier, but we'll transition ourselves into the temporary warm-up. So more time for these drivers to log in their final laps of the night, and as well as they're going to be able to wear down a bit of that bottom groove. Of course, fresh new pavement. What am I saying? Fresh new dirt. Yet again, so get an outside view how this will all go, but that's the cool thing about dirt racing here on iRacing. There has yet to be a simulator that has such a dynamic track in which it changes the surface of it. But here on iRacing, it's the only type of simulation. It's the best in the business, and of course iRacing is just proving why they're the most realistic sim. Here on the racetrack, so A total of 13 drivers have registered themselves for the session. I think there's only 10 here for tonight. Hope to see more drivers by the end of the season. Of course, I think the number will grow as we pick up more members left and right. So again, there's no points that are yet to be displayed. I mean, again, first race of the season. So for these, for all these drivers out on the racetrack, it's up to them to see on how they're going to situate themselves for the season. Should be very, very fun to see on how it'll all go. Still 2 minutes remaining in this practice session right now. There's the man I'm looking out for. This number, actually not that man, but this number 57, a Scott Scheuer. Scheuer currently just sitting at the edge of pit road. Scheuer, again, we saw his statistics on here on the bottom side. This 4,300 iRating on his resume, so should be really, really fun to see on how he's going to do out here on the racetrack. So currently sits on top of the board as Harry is currently in second. Harry, again, your triple challenge winner just last week, and he won at this very racetrack as well. So for that number 70, trying to repeat here at Lanier, we'll see what he could do. Patterson, he actually does have a dirt win on his resume. Came in at Eldora in the Ice Car Truck Series. Was one of his few wins that season. I wouldn't say he's yet to return to victory lane. He's been in victory lane a lot of times. Oh, that's not good. Shuttlesworth runs to the backside of whoever that was, but we got a checkered flag. So we're going to transition ourselves into this heat race. I mean, the A main here for tonight. If you're not just joining us, ACOG iRacing Series, the 358 Late Model Tour. We're going to crown our first winner of the season. Row number one going to be Kevin White Jr., Scott Scheuer. Row number two, Harry Grindle, Omar Diallo. Row three, going to be Patterson and Shuttlesworth. Camosa and Hobbs round out row number four. Rounding out the top five is Peter Kenny and Bergie Bachman, starting in 11th place. And a total of 10 drivers out here on the racetrack. So it should be a fun 10 car sprint. Shouldn't be too hectic as well, so luckily with a lower field, I'm not expecting like some giant wrecks, but regardless, we're set for a good show here tonight. Omar Diallo does not grid. Again. Barry Grindle was your triple challenge winner. These top two were both heat winners. That was Kevin White Jr. and Scott Scheuer. Going to be starting top two here for this one. 13 drivers. There was 13 entries. Going to duke it out for 50 laps. Green. Here we go. Green flag. Up and away here at Lanier. Lots of scrambling as Hobbs works himself 3 wide through the middle, or at least tries to. Grindle gonna rip the top side into 1 and 2, holding up Shuttlesworth for right now, but up front, it's Kevin White Jr. and this number 52 leading it over Scheuer. Shuttlesworth is getting beaten and banged around as Peter Kenny splits the middle. He works himself through as he works himself around Komosa, and that's Bachman in the 84 trying to make something happen. Up front, though, battle for the lead, heating up. Scheuer's knocking on the door of Kevin White Jr., but everybody's still tucked on that bottom side for right now. Scheuer looking low. There's also a bit of a battle right behind. They go side by side as here comes Patterson down low. He hugging the inside wall. He's hugging the inside wall. Trying to make it work. Looking around Hobbs, but can't do it right now. Look how low Kevin White is off the corner. All looking for some real estate right behind. And Scheuer kicking the nose under that number 52. If they go side by side for this spot, maybe Harry will drag himself into the mix. Scheuer up high looking for a run. And he got it there. Looking down low, just leaning on his door, trying to make something happen. There's some chemical reactions to that. Sawyer's just playing the catalyst for right now and how he wants to pass with the lead. More battling right behind is Shuttlesworth crossover inside of Mitch Hobbs. He works himself under for that spot. Oh, but he got loose, though. This thing ain't over yet. Kevin White, he sees the slick as he adjusts his line just a bit. This battle for 4th is still going on. It's gonna have trouble, though.
All right, man, caution is out.
Upside down is the 89 of Hobbs. He made a bit of contact there with the 02 of Patterson. I think he tried to clear himself off right up the corner. And Hobbs goes upside down. Unfortunate for him. We've got a replay of that. It just got loose. Patterson scooted himself up to the high side and it just toppled Hobbs upside down. Up and over, Hobbs went. That's about as simple as you could get, especially on the iRacing servers. So no caution laps count, by the way, for a yellow flag, and unfortunately for Hobbs, they gone down the drain for him. We'll see if he can get himself out on the racetrack, and maybe, hopefully, if one of these other drivers do wreck out, hopefully they can make something happen, so. Here we go. Single file up on the high side. Kevin White Jr. is going to lead the train off to the races.
Green, green, green.
Green flag yet again out on the racetrack. And already to the inside goes Scheuer. Did he get the run off the corner, but there's still grip down there. Kevin White's just ripping that top side. Look how far he shot out off of 4. Scheuer got loose that time. Now everybody trying to adjust. Scheuer is losing a lot of ground. Harry's taking advantage of it. Not only that, he's dragging the O2 of Patterson in, as well as Sawyer flings it back down to the bottom. White's been controlling this thing. The drop of the restart. There's a bit of company right behind Harry. Patterson. So they're all right behind Sawyer. Sawyer did not get as good of a restart as I thought he would. They're looking even higher. Kevin White has pulled himself a second away from Sawyer. Last time by a 14.0 and a 14.0 as well by Kevin, but Kevin was a slight bit faster than Scott. Everybody just sort of riding themselves back in line. A bit of battling right here. This Peter Kenny right up on the low side. Mitch Hobbs looks like has found himself back into the racetrack. He's 4 laps down. Peter is sideways. Luckily hangs onto the car. But man, this high side is kicking in big time. The more that high side gets used, the more that cushion's gonna build up. And I'm sure we're gonna have a dry, slick track here in a moment. Kevin's rim riding. Where all that loose dirt is. Don't want to get too much into it. But he's doing one whale of a job. We're going to hit the halfway point this time by. Got to battle for this spot. It's going to be for third. Grindle trying to pull away from Patterson. Both these drivers still riding in each other's tracks. Also a bit of a battle here for seventh. Is Daniel Camosa and Peter Kenny trying to make something happen. Not a far ways off of Kevin White Jr., your leader. Harry. You want to look at the swap lanes through. This is what I was talking about. Dry, slick racetrack, and it's now Harry and Sawyer on the downstairs trying to make something happen. Totally opposite lines by the 70 and 02, but Harry missed the entry into into 3. Patterson's going to be all over him here in a moment. And it seems as though the gap between Kevin and Sawyer has been pretty persistent so far. And to the high side goes Patterson. Top is Patterson, bottom is Harry. And Harry, look at the clear. Patterson off the corner, can't do it. Oh, Harry got in the slick. Well, we lost a lot of ground on Patterson that time. I think Patterson might have the position, but Harry's going to sail it down. Can't get the bite off the corner, and Patterson to third. Kevin White Jr. has caught some lap traffic. He puts Camosa 1 lap down. Now Peter also 1 lap down. Camosa and Peters fighting out for the spot. They got to move out of the way of Sawyer, who's flying up here in the high side. Laps to go at the line. We've only had 1 caution so far by Mitch Hobbs, and he's worked himself back onto the racetrack after towing it. Sawyer is losing a lot of ground, though. Peter Kenny just moving himself out of harm's way. Closest battle here for 4th. So Grindle and Shuttlesworth trying to make something happen, and look how high these drivers are. Harry's just about rim riding that top side. And it wasn't like the triple challenge in which the bottom kicked in and back into gear. Everybody's been on the top so far, but still a long ways to go from the end of it. 14 laps to go at the line, and Harry's losing a lot of ground. Shuttlesworth to the inside. Oh, he got loose on the bottom there, and Shuttlesworth drops back to 5th again. Shuttlesworth about tapping his nose against that inside wall. They're working around a few lap cars. Bachman downstairs of Kevin White. And that's Mitch Hobbs right behind. Scheuer, he's looking down low. So Scheurer's going to try something to gain all that ground back. And now the gap closes down to 1.7. Oh, but Bachman in that 84 is going to clog that inside line for Scheuer, so he's going to lose some time. Only 9 laps to go at the line. And Scheurer's running out of time. Oh, and Bachman spins! I can't believe that doesn't bring a caution out, though. All right, he'll back it up, or at least try to. Try not to make a caution out. And the caution doesn't come out. Wow, I'm surprised. Cannot believe the caution didn't fly. He was literally stopped on the racetrack and nothing happened. Mitch Hobbs causing this 57 a bit of a headache right now. The gap opens up to 2.3 again. And Kevin is rim riding this track right now. Scheuer finally gets around Hobbs. Some more battling right behind. It's Harry and Trey meeting yet again. And it's Trey right up against the barrier as Harry hugs the low side. Look how hard Trey sails it into the corner. You see the differential there on the inside versus the outside. Try slick track at its finest. 2 laps to go, or still 3 laps to go. As Scheurer's running out of time now. It might not happen for him. Harry still trying to fend out this 119. White flag for Kevin White, though. 1 more lap to go for this number 52 to pick up his first ever ACOG League win. He'll work himself around Camosa right up on the high side. Checkered flag, and it's Kevin White Jr. winning here at Lanier. And the battle for 4th goes for Grindle by the looks of it. But man, what a race from start to finish. A lot of action left and right. And for that 52, a good old W to walk out of here from Lanier National Speedway. Full results going to be shown on your screen as Kevin White pulls off the victory here at Lanier. Scott Scheuer going to round himself out second. Patterson in third. Grindle, Shuttlesworth, Kenny, Camosa, Bachman, Hobbs, and Diallo round out the top 10. Berge, Brown, and Woody do not start tonight's race. We'll be back right after this, interviewing the top 3 what a race we had here at Lanier. And we're going to drag in Kevin White Jr. here momentarily. Back here live at Lanier National Speedway. We'll go ahead and drag in our winner here in just a moment. But man, what a race from start to finish we had here at Lanier. And my goodness gracious. And for this number 52 of Kevin White Jr., we'll go ahead and drag him into the booth here right about now. Into the booth, that number 52 goes. He led, I think, a total of, well, we'll find out here, 49 out of this 50 laps. One of those laps did not count because of that caution. And we'll go ahead and drag him into the booth. That number 52 for his first ever ACOG win in dominating fashion. Kevin, my goodness, man. What a victory here tonight at Lanier. Congratulations, man. First thoughts.
Thank you. I mean, I kind of thought it would have been more competition out there. You know what I mean? Harry was one of the guys I knew I had to beat because of what happened last week. You know, he won and everything. But honestly, ecstatic because I know back when it was Ice Car, I couldn't get crap rolling. Like, I had no momentum. Just out there having fun. Now it seems like I'm here to win.
Yep, that's right. No doubt you're here to win. Hell, you're sitting in victory lane here for tonight, man. Congratulations. You led 49 out of the 50 laps. I mean, the one of those laps didn't count because of the caution. But regardless, Kevin, man, you're going to lead points out of here from Lanier. And you beat out Scott Stroyer, of course, Harry, and Patterson. So coming into Volusia maybe next week, what are you looking forward to see there?
Hopefully I end up where I'm at tonight, you know, victory lane. I did a lot of testing, ended up winning a championship in the supers. I guess this is where my strong point is now on the dirt side and everything. I mean, I'm still gonna be running asphalt for ACOG, but it's more of my wheelhouse now and on the dirt side and in the late models and stuff. So yeah.
All right, but 10-4. Kevin White Jr. rounds himself on top of the board here for tonight. Started himself as well on top and led it all the way to the finish here for tonight. Kevin, congratulations. But before I let you go, any sponsor want to thank you for tonight?
I just want to thank Flying Arrows. They're still backing me 100%, and they've kind of given me a new home now for the past 6 months. So anything I do, I just have to shout out to them because they just gave me a big opportunity.
All right, about 10-4, Kevin White Jr. Wins here tonight at Lanier. We'll go ahead and see you coming to next week, man.
See ya. Thank you, guys.
Scott Shore not in the booth. We'll go give ourselves back one position to this 0-2 of Josh Patterson, who runs himself out third here for tonight. Josh, we're really focusing on you, but you scrawled yourself up into third, and after a bit of contact there with Mitch Hobbs, you survive here tonight at Lanier. And what a race was it for you between you, Harry, and Trey there for a moment?
Yeah, it's really good battling, you know, towards the, through the middle of the race there. Between the three of us, I was riding behind Harry for a bit, trying to get around him. It never really worked, and he went to the bottom, and I saw it really wasn't working for him, so I just stuck to the top. He gave me room, and, you know, I got around him, so it was really clean racing there. And then I sort of created a gap, and then every time I look behind me, those two were side by side racing real hard. So must have been fun for them back there. I do feel bad for Mitch though, so I apologize on that contact there. I was trying to get around him as well, and I couldn't really find a way around him. He got loose off of, I think, 4. So I just gunned it to his outside, and then he, I guess, corrected it back up into me, and then, you know, iRacing decided to flip him over. So yeah, it sucks that his race sort of got ended like that, but you know, I'm glad we survived and, you know, came home in the podium positions.
Yep, that is right. You didn't lead any laps here tonight, but you put yourself solid into the points standings coming out of Lanier. So, what are you looking forward to since you sparked yourself off with some good momentum?
Well, I mean, I just came home from vacation today, so, I mean, I'm happy to get back into the series. Sucks I missed last night, but definitely momentum pushing forward into, you know, the rest of this week and next week. With a solid podium first race back, and, you know, it's just, I bought a new computer recently, so a little upgrade to the sim, so I guess that's paying out a little bit, but, yeah, I really wasn't expecting to be, you know, that quick here tonight. I mean, I haven't really run the pros much at all, but, you know, it sort of just worked out in my favor. So, you know, that speed, you know, will definitely produce some momentum going into the future.
All right, by 10-4, Josh Patterson rounds himself out in third. Before we let you go, any sponsors want to thank here?
I got to thank everybody at Nova Sim Racing. They make all this possible. Give me so much help, you know, week to week in whatever I need. JP Designs, Bell for Property Restoration, NTN, Endurance Distributions. I got to thank you for broadcasting, running the whole league. Got to thank everybody on track for giving me a great race.
All right, by 10-4, Josh Patterson rounds himself out third. Can't wait to see you come to your next race, man.
Yep, see you soon, Zeke.
We'll drag in one more person into the booth. That'll be Harry Grindle in the number 70, who rounds himself out fourth. Your Triple Challenge winner sits in the fourth spot. Harry, you got a copy?
Yeah, I've got you.
Harry, man, you were all over that fourth place battle, and it seems until you won it over Shuttlesworth in that 119. But it seems as though you didn't lead any laps here for tonight. What just went wrong here tonight?
Yeah, this Team Kamikaze, I know, didn't really hook up. I never really managed to get the feel for how the track was wearing in. Never really got the car to dig in properly, so it wasn't quite on the form it was last week. And the competition this week was a lot better too. So it was just I stepped down and they stepped up. So just never really came to fruition. Had a decent battle, like you said, with Trey at the end. Josh gave me a working and took third off me as well. So good on him for that. But yeah, just never really managed to get into the rhythm. I never really managed to suss out what the track was doing.
Luckily for you, you finished out fourth here tonight. You put yourself fourth in the point standings as well. So coming up to Volusia, coming next week, where are you looking forward to there on that racetrack?
Volusia's a fun track. It's got an interesting line to it. You've got a sort of like late apex, but it's like a reverse sort of Richmond almost sort of shape. Where it's got a really curved back straight, so you've got to really play with your lines and try and carry the momentum. So it'll definitely be interesting. I've not driven it in a pro late before. I've raced there in a limited, and I've done one race there in a super, but I've never done it in the pro, so it'll be a learning experience for sure.
Well, hopefully you add 2 and 2 up and it'll all match up together here in this pro late model coming next week. Harry, congratulations for finishing fourth out here tonight. But before I let you go, any sponsors want to thank here?
see Team Kamikaze and Team Project New Zealand. Thank them every time I'm in here. Big associates of mine. Renault Sport on the car and TVR Engine powering this car to a 4th place finish today.
All right, about 10-4. Harry Grindle rounds himself out 4th after starting himself in 3rd. We'll go ahead and see you coming to the next race, man.
Yeah, see you next week.
That was Harry Grindle in that number 70, but for Kevin White Jr. in that number 52, a big old W after this amazing race from start to finish. What a victory for that number 52 of Kevin White Jr. And until next time here live on MaxspeedTV, tune us in next week as well as tomorrow when we go green with the NASCAR Gander Outdoors Truck Series vehicles at Daytona International Speedway. Should be fun there to see super speedway racing back at its finest. ACOG live here on MaxspeedTV. Catch you next time for this next broadcast. Thank you all for watching. Signing out.